Talking Football on WTNS with Steve Cores and Casey Claxon.
Welcome to Talkin' Football from WTNS. I'm Casey Claxon here with Cooz, Steve Cores. This is our, I guess we would call it our special Coffee with Cooz edition of Talkin' Football to kick off the 2025 season. Cooz, you got your...
You know, right, Casey, this is my home away from home in the morning, so I'm pretty comfortable sitting right out here.
Yeah, this is where you can find him. Now, obviously, today we're sitting outside here on the patio at Coshocton Coffee Connection, recording Talkin' Football. But, normally you'll find Cooz on the inside, and you're kind of holding court in there, you might say.
Well, I don't know about all that, but we do have a group of people that show up most mornings, and we have a good time.
Did you warn them we might be doing this today?
I did, and most of them decided they better get out of here because they thought we might want to get this done within about 10 or 15 minutes.
I brought an extra microphone, in case we wanted to plug it in or anything like that, or if there's some hecklers that come by or they go through the drive-thru or something like that. So you never know what we're going to encounter when we are down here at Coffee Connection. But I will say this: we are proud to announce that the Coshocton Regional Medical Center is once again going to be our sponsor of Talkin' Football all season long. So we say thank you to Coshocton Regional Medical Center for helping us support our broadcast.
Yeah, we really do. We really do appreciate it. They've done it for a number of years now, and they're a great supporter of what we do.
Yeah, and as far as today's program is concerned, you kind of asked me as we were setting up. You're like, what do you got cooking here today? What is this really all about? And this is just so everybody knows, this is very unscripted. If we were comparing it to in terms of preparation is very mild in terms of preparation for today. I've got my note cards, but they're blank. There's nothing written there. I might make a note or two along the way. If you were comparing it to coffee, since this is our special Coffee with Cooz edition of Talkin' Football, it would be a mild roast, so to speak, in terms of preparation.
Very mild. You're right.
Very mild roast. So, but we're excited about the upcoming season. I don't know, all the teams are deep entrenched in two-a-days. We're recording this on a Tuesday as teams are just now, into their third or fourth day of practice, depending upon when they started on Friday.
Yeah, really right now, just everybody getting their feet wet, you go through the summer stuff, you go through the lifting during the off season, but, really until you get to now, you really don't know what you have till you be able to put everything together. And, the three coaches in our area, they're diligently working, trying to put together a program and have a successful season.
Yeah, and as far as a lot of those teams, they went through a variety of summer workouts. I know the rules have somewhat changed in the number of opportunities that coaches have a chance to work with the kids. A lot of 7-on-7 scrimmages. I know we featured some photos and some videos of some of the teams going through 7-on-7. But they've been active for quite a while. They get past July 4th and it's all full go.
And you're absolutely right. When they get that go ahead, that clearance, they're out there working on various things. You really have to kind of feel your way through the process, see what you have. A lot of teams, at least in our area, they lost some key people from a year ago. So you got to be able to fill those spots. They're going to be younger kids, and they've got to be able to develop and to continue on.
So as we start off this year, we'll kind of go around do a little round table of several of the teams. Let's start with the Riverview Black Bears. They've got a brand new coach at the helm this year.
Yeah, Tyler McKee taking over out at Riverview. He's not inexperienced. Actually, he was the head coach 3 or 4 years ago. It's probably been even longer than that now. But he did it on an interim basis. So he's very familiar with the program. They've had some struggles in the last couple years, and he wants to start from the bottom and build the thing up from there, and has some decent numbers out, which is exciting to him, and it's going to be exciting for Riverview fans.
And I think from that standpoint, to be the leader of that program, you have to have a dynamic personality. You have to be someone that kids, I believe, gravitate to, and Tyler checks those boxes, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so as well. The kids know him. They know what to expect from him. He's always been good at the lower levels, even down into the grade school areas, getting kids, interested in football, and that'll be his task going forward.
Yeah, he's done a great job on social media. They're starting to kind of build the momentum as the season starts. They're putting lots of pictures and lots of camps and a lot of feel-good moments in the summer as you're preparing. And I think that's really where it starts in terms of getting some excitement built and get the kids excited about playing.
You want, and then I think this is important not only with Riverview but all programs. You've got to get the kids wanting to come and then participate, and I think he's good at developing that, and I think that's what's going to take the first step to get where they want to go.
Yeah. So let's move on now to talk Coshocton Redskin football. We're just a couple of blocks away from Stewart Field where we are at. You're watching Talkin Football from WTNS. This is our special Coffee with Cooz edition, brought to you by Coshocton Regional Medical Center. But we're talking football, talking a little coffee, and just a little round table. Yeah, that's right. So we're not far. I lost my sense of direction. So Stewart Field over this way. Let's talk a little bit about the Redskins. Mike Smith back again. Steve Smith. I see, very unscripted. Sorry, Coach.
Yeah, he's back, and I believe this is, it's probably like year number 6 for him. So, he's also lost some people from a year ago. Lost his quarterback, Colton Conkle, who's moving on. So one of the big things he's got to do is find a quarterback, and it's going to be somebody. It's probably a younger kid. They do have some skilled kids back from a year ago. And it's just something for Coach Smith is, he wants to develop this, and I guess their numbers are decent, 40, 45 kids out. So we'll see how that all goes.
And and I think whenever you get started, you try to build that core nucleus and kind of progress those kids up and develop them as they come. And from what I hear, there is some talent, kind of coming up through the younger ranks to build upon.
Right. I think they've got a really good sophomore class. Some kids that they've been kind of nurturing way through, and they're going to have to take a bigger role this year. They did lose some seniors, and it's really in football and really in any high school sport, it's always next man up. You got to be ready and get after it.
Yeah. So the Ridgewood Generals, they've had years and years of success under John Slusser, and there's things happening up at Ridgewood. Before we talk about the team, they've got the field expansion and
everything. Really nice. I had an opportunity to drive by and take a look. They're going to turf this year. That'd be their first year with turf. Now you've got Coshocton and Ridgewood now both with turf, and boy, they're really excited up there. In fact, that whole complex they're going to do baseball, softball as well, right along with it. So turf being put in up there. I know everybody's excited, and and there's other renovations in the stadium as well. So it gives them. I think, and I'm when you talk about off script, I may be saying something here that they're saying, no, Cooz, that's not what we want to do. But I think it even in lower division football now, since there are 7 divisions, I think that even gives them an opportunity to potentially host playoff games as well, which it can be a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and I think that the way that the change has occurred this year, they've scaled back from 16 teams in a region making the playoffs to just 12. And then the top 4 seeds will have a bye, and then they won't go to neutral sites until that regional championship game, from what I understand. Is that accurate?
True. That is true, and I know from a Ridgewood perspective, they like that. Their expectations are high. They did lose their quarterback from a year ago, lost some other key people as well. So, it's there is a situation in general. It is next man up, and they've got it built from the lower levels all the way up through, and their expectation is the next guy's going to step in, and we're going to continue to keep this program rolling.
Yeah. And I know when you get a chance to talk to Coach Slusser, he'll a lot of times he's the master at deflection whenever it comes to asking him how your team is doing.
There's no question. I'm sure his first thing he says, I'm just hoping we can win one. So that's kind of the way he likes to do it, and and it's been successful.
Yeah, I see him in church on Sundays, and I'm like, now, John. Oh, but it's really going to be interesting to see how the season unfolds, and I know everybody's really excited.
Oh, they are, and and football in general, it's big. There's no question about that, and it kind of almost leads into something that we've talked about, and WTNS is going to expand their schedule from a year ago, and we're going to be doing on some evenings 2 ball games. I think 5 nights we're going to have 2 games, so added coverage to the area.
Yeah, so you'll be able to tune in and listen or watch 15 games on the schedule this year. I believe that's the initial plan. And starting with week 1, obviously it's a big rivalry matchup with Coshocton and Ridgewood. And we will have that game on FM 99.3 WTNS, as well as streaming on the WTNS YouTube channel. And then also in week 1, the Riverview Black Bears, they welcome the Garaway Pirates in week 1, and we will carry that game as well. That game will actually be on 102.7 FM, as well as on the WKLM channel, on streaming on WKLMFM.com. You can listen to that call there. And then Jake Seidel will have the play-by-play for that one. And then it'll also be on the YouTube channel, both on the WTNS and the WKLM. So kind of serving both communities there from that standpoint.
It's an exciting thing for us, and I know it's, we've had other times people want to know how can we get more coverage, and we're going to give that a go this year, and I think it'll be very successful.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to that, and we'll be putting out the full schedule. And while we're talking about schedule, not only will we carry high school football, carrying 15 games, but we've got a high school soccer as well as volleyball schedule up on the board for WTNS.
And something as well, to talk about soccer. Historically, this has been an outstanding area for soccer, and you've got the defending state champions right up the road at Riverview. And, I don't think Coach Andrews is thinking about backing off any. I think he thinks they've got a nice club up there again as well.
Absolutely. We were up there on on Sunday. They had their ring ceremony where they were handing out the rings, and they had their annual alumni game, and they had they played 40 minutes of the varsity squad against some of the alumni. So that was fun to watch that, and we were up there to shoot some video and take some pictures. But talking with Coach, he said to me, he's like, a lot of people say, well, why didn't you retire after a championship? You're at the top of the mountain. Why wouldn't you just retire? And he's like, I got a great team coming back. I'm not done. This is a lot of fun. So I know they are really excited, and we even Robbie Chandler had a chance to talk with a couple of the players, and they have expectations up here again. Whether it's making it to the state again, winning a state championship, a lot of those kids have that expectation, and I believe that's a team that feels like that they could do just that.
And I believe too that's what you want. That's what the culture you want to build in any program is. The expectation is there that every year, look down the road, 60 miles down to Columbus. Their expectations on Ohio State is to win it all again. So that's exactly what Riverview's thinking about on their soccer program, and they've got some kids back, and they're looking forward to competing.
Yeah, they certainly had some success over the years, and looking to continue with that. Connor Rohrig is back at the helm for the Coshocton Redskins soccer team. I know he's got 30 plus players on his roster for this year. He'll be in his second season, but the Redskins are looking to continue to improve on the soccer pitch.
Yeah, they really are. They've got a lot of young kids, and they're going to be from my understanding, there's a lot of younger kids that are going to compete with the older guys this year. That's how good they think they potentially could be. So, I know Coach Rory is getting them ready, and there'll probably be a little bit of a struggle early on. It always is when you're playing a lot of young guys, but he wants them to develop and just keep getting better.
Jake Seidel is going to be our play-by-play for high school soccer on the boys and the girls side, so we're excited about having him come down and do some soccer broadcasts for us. Cooz, Have you ever been on a soccer broadcast before? Did Tom Thompson ever coerce you into doing a soccer game?
Tom knew from an early time that I knew absolutely nothing about soccer. But Casey, I will say this: I have a grandson who plays soccer, Will, and I've started to learn a little bit about the game now. I'm still haven't figured that offsides out yet, but I'm getting at it.
I said I didn't have any notes on my little note cards here for today, but I made a mental note that I was going to ask you if you could explain what offsides is in soccer. Can you explain that yet?
No.
No. Okay. The short answer is no. All right. Well, maybe that'll be a topic for another Coffee with Cooz, explaining what offsides is. But yeah. So I know they've got some young folks, and I think Will's playing on the middle school team, your grandson. So maybe we'll get you into the broadcast booth. Maybe you could just kind of set in and just let Cooz be Cooz.
I'll sit beside Jake and watch and listen to what he has to say.
And just be a grandpa, be a supporter. Well, we were talking boys soccer. Let's go ahead and talk on the girls side. Obviously, the Riverview Black Bears girls soccer team. Dave Kreidler is kind of the dean of the area coaches. And I know he's excited to be back with his girls. And some of his players actually work here inside of Coshocton Coffee Connection. We saw some of them. They were heckling us as we were getting our drinks here for today. But they're excited about the upcoming season. And one of the things that Riverview has always done, they've always hosted the annual Labor Day Showcase, and that's a really exciting venture that they will be continuing to do this year. And I forget the number of years that it's been.
It's been a while.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, and I'm sure that Coach Kreidler will have them ready to go. It's always been that they're the same boat. They expect success up there, and they'll be ready to play when the season starts.
Yeah, so they've got. I know at the time of a recording, they got some scrimmages lined up. We're going to help out and film some of those games, and then I think they open the season with Tri-Valley. So they're starting. Right off the rip, they've got some games early in the season. I may be wrong. I think they've got a Saturday match. I forget who they play to open the season. We'll have to look that up. We stand corrected. We said this was very off script. It was very off script, and my memory isn't the best. But one thing I do remember about the Labor Day Showcase for this year is that all three Coshocton County girls teams are playing in the showcase this year. So Riverview. There are 6 matches on that day, on Labor Day, September the 1st. Riverview will start off, and they will start at 9 o'clock and play the 9 o'clock game. And then there are 4 games in between. And then the last game of the night at 7 o'clock features Coshocton and Ridgewood playing against one another. So that's a game to put a star by, and we will carry that game on WTNS. Jake will have the broadcast on the first and last game, and then we'll actually live stream all 6 of the games from the Labor Day Showcase on Claxon.live. So we'll basically have that live stream coverage, and Jake Seidel will help out with some of the play-by-play for that one. During that day. So that's going to be exciting, and it's all brought to you by Coshocton Regional Medical Center. They are our title sponsor again, supporting the broadcast from the Labor Day Showcase. So,
all right.
So we've got, obviously, girls soccer will continue to roll there. Craig Hamilton is the new girls head coach at Coshocton, so I know he's excited about getting things going there for the girls.
That is absolutely true. They've got some young kids as well, but they have some young kids with experience that played a year ago and had some success. So I know Coach Hamilton's looking forward to that and getting things going with Coshocton and see where they can continue to run that program.
And that was a team that last year won the small school MVL title. So that was one of the things that they prided themselves on was winning a championship last year. The way they kind of configure that league, you got to play everybody, but then if you've got the best record amongst the small schools, then Coshocton was able to take the title. Ridgewood Generals, Amy Art Johnson, she's back at the helm again, a former Riverview coach and former Riverview player. So I know she's looking to improve, and I'm sure she's excited. I saw the soccer lines on the new stadium turf, so they're excited about being able to play on the new field as well.
Yeah, you're right, and it just seems like if you really take a look at that program, every year they seem to always get a step better. Yeah. So, I know they're looking forward to continuing that and also have some experience back.
Yeah, so they've got I've got some players back to make a difference, and that was a team last year that Ridgewood actually defeated Riverview the opening night of the season. So that was a big surprise when they defeated the Riverview girls 1-0 at Riverview. So they've had some marquee wins, and they're looking to improve on that.
That's right, and success breeds success, and I think that's where they're trying to head.
Yeah. Now I could talk soccer all day long, Cooz, but let's move on to volleyball. I know you're kind of the volleyball expert of us, so I'll let you kind of go from there. But I know Riverview has high expectations with Rose Olinger and her volleyball team this year.
They really do. They have everybody back, which is a plus in itself. They're a regional team the last couple years. Now they want to take that last step and get to the big dance, which should be the state semifinals and finals. And they've got the people that can do it. They're experienced. I honestly think that they're going to be the team to beat in the MVL for certain, and we'll just see where everything goes as this thing moves down through there. But I know they're excited, and we're excited to see what they can bring to the table.
Let's go ahead and transition to the Coshocton volleyball program. I know they've got some young kids out, and they're looking to improve on what they accomplished from last year.
Yeah, Coshocton's kind of in the opposite direction with that. They lost everybody with the exception of one player. So, they're in a total rebuild, and they're going to work for it and see how it all develops. And when you're playing a bunch of young kids, especially early on, you're going to have some pitfalls, and I think they're aware of that. But their goal is just every week and every day and get better in practice and see where it takes you.
And, Coach Nelson has always been so positive, and she's really good at building up kids. And, just from her role at the high school, on the academic side, being a counselor, she does a great job of building up those young players.
And nothing has changed. I had an opportunity to talk with her last weekend, and she's excited to get things started, and she understands where she's at, but she wants to see improvement all the time, and that's what they're going to work to do.
Yeah. Ridgewood competes night in and night out with the IVC, but that's a tough league to play in volleyball-wise when you're going up against the Tusky Valleys of the world and so forth. But Coach Kayla's going to bring her best with her group to the hardwood.
Yeah, it really is, and they've had some experience back, and I think they're excited about what they want to try to accomplish. We haven't had an opportunity to really sit down and talk with them yet to see where they really are, but I think based on what I remember from their roster and what the returners could be, I think they're going to be in the middle of things and see how things work.
Yeah. So we've kind of gone around and talked about several of the sports. You're watching the special Coffee with Cooz edition of Talkin' Football, and we've kind of gone off script and talked about more sports than just football. But it's all brought to you by Coshocton Regional Medical Center. They are going to be our title sponsor again this year for Talkin' Football. But Cooz, before we talk about the other sports, let's talk about football. Just transition back to that. Just to set your schedule. So next week, what we plan to do is to interview all three high school football coaches and have Talkin' Football next week interview style. So you're going to have to carve out some time so we can get with Coach Smith and Coach McKee, Coach Slusser, and get those interviews down so we can actually talk football with the guys that know more about football than us.
And I'm sure they'll have plenty to say. That's for sure.
Yeah, they'll probably have a scrimmage in, and they'll have a little more to say. So we'll have we'll look to debut Talkin' Football sometime late next week. And then we'll feature all of those interviews from the three area head coaches. And then the week after that, then we'll have our traditional Talkin' Football. We will preview the games to open up week one, Coshocton against Ridgewood and Riverview and Garaway to start the season.
Hard to believe.
Yeah.
We're almost there.
Goes so quick. Well, let's talk golf. Cooz, are you a golfer?
I'm kind of a golfer. I haven't played as much in recent years, but I used to play a lot of golf.
You used to play a lot, okay. Well, the high school golf season starts really early. A lot of those teams are already in competition. And I tell you, we've got some dynamite golfers here. in Coshocton County. Those Gress boys have got it rolling.
They do have it rolling, and they have some other players alongside that they're very talented as well. So they're looking forward to this year, and they've started off well. Won a couple tournaments already, and the Gress boys do feature their team, but they've got some other people that can get things done as well. So. I know Coach Gress is looking forward to seeing how this thing develops as time goes on.
Yeah, I know Gavin has he's carded a 67 and a 67 in his last two as the time we record this on Tuesday. Yeah, had a 67 on Saturday and then one on Monday night at the Indian Valley Invite at River Green. So and he medaled in both of those, and the Bears with a great showing as a team. But you mentioned his brother, a great player with Colton, and then you got Clark Frishen, who is an excellent golfer. He's a newcomer to the squad, a freshman, and then Caleb Klein, the lone senior on the team, or one of two seniors rather. And those guys, you put those four up, in your foursome, and look out.
Yeah, I tell you what, they're going to be formidable, and I'll tell you, you better be on your A game when you play with those guys. Yeah,
the Ridgewood boys, as well as Coshocton boys, also competed at the Indian Valley Invitational at River Greens on Monday. Ridgewood's got a real young team. Coach Jake Glazier has got a young group of kids, but I know he's excited about having those guys back. And, Coach Jimmy Allison's got a hard-working group for his team, for the Coshocton Redskins.
Yeah, he's the same way. A lot of young kids, and they've had a numbers problem in the past few years, but now seem to have some people out and interested in getting back and playing some golf. So it'll be interesting to see how they develop.
On the girls' side, I tell you, you got two really talented players, both at Ridgewood and at Riverview on the girls' side, starting with the Lady Bears. Courtney Mickle is a great golfer, and she had an outstanding performance last night. She shot like a 91, I think, down at the JC's course on Monday night, and she's quite a golfer. And then for Ridgewood, Bryn Harstein is one of the best out there. I think she ended up coming in second place, and Ridgewood took third at the Lady Pirate Invite. So they've got some talent there on the links, so to speak.
It's really good to see a lot of the younger kids getting involved with golf. We had a little bit of a down period in this area, and historically this has been a really good golf area. Yeah. But up until last year a little bit, they'd had a couple of years where they hadn't done much, and now it seems like they're starting to see some numbers again, and the kids are developed, and really Riverview is going to be fun to watch simply because they have 4 kids and 5 kids that actually can play and only take, I believe it's the top 4 scores in these, and they're going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, with the top 4, and I think in the tournament that they played over the weekend, it even came down to like the 5th player scoring because there was a tie,
right.
And then they have to revert back, and so even if you're that 5th man or 5th player on the squad, sometimes your score is going to come into play, especially if there is a tie.
It's important, it's important to have 5, and right now it'll be interesting. You take a look at the fall sports season in general. Mm-hmm. It's probably the busiest time of the year, considering winter and spring as well. And it's tell you what, with the golf season the way it is, it'll be really interesting to see how all this transitions.
Yeah, it will be exciting to watch, that is for sure. We do plan to get out through ClaxonSports.com to get out and do our Inside the Huddle videos with some of the coaches and some of the players, and focus on some of the minor sports that are out there, not just football, but volleyball and boys and girls soccer, boys and girls golf, and we haven't even scratched cross country yet, and I really can't talk about cross country too much because I don't know that much about it. So we're going to have to do a little more deep dive into the cross country season. But we're going to feature some of from those teams as well.
I can tell you one thing about cross country.
Yeah.
You run.
You run.
and run.
Oh, I was never a cross country runner.
Well,
did you run cross country?
I had to when I was in high school. That was
you had to.
I was for basketball. That was the conditioning part of it. Okay. So I was on the cross country team in the in the fall. So
okay. So you had to,
I'm aware, well aware of that.
Gotcha. Well, that kind of leads into almost a wrap up of our program. But I wanted to just transition back to football. But before we finish up our initial Coffee with Cooz edition of Talkin' Football. But last year on Talkin' Football, we always had a question for Cooz. that
I'd
we
forgotten about that.
Yeah, our question for Cooz. So if you've been laboring through this with us, wondering, is Casey going to ask Cooz a question? So yes, we're going to do question for Cooz again this year. And so I thought, and usually I don't run this by you, so I'll just kind of spring it on you. But you kind of answered the question indirectly. But I know that you played football some, like when you were young, but did you play football? And if I believe you did, what position did you play, and what's a memorable moment or a memory that you have when you actually played football instead of running cross country in the fall? Can you tell us the story?
Actually, no, nothing of a positive nature.
Oh. Okay.
Played through my junior high years, but other than that, Coshocton at that time was starting to develop into a really nice program, and that's where I went to school. For those who don't know, I was a graduate of Coshocton High School. Yeah. And when I got involved with football, or later in football, I was a kicker also. Oh,
but really? I didn't know that.
Not a punter, but a kicker.
Okay.
And I tried to maybe stick around as a kicker. But in those days, you really ran for two most of the time, and the only time you ever kicked the ball was kicking off. And our coach, and we've talked about it since, and it was such a funny thing. But he told me, he says, we really don't have any need for a specialist on this team. So I thought it was time to just go to basketball and baseball.
So you were a kicker. Did you play any other positions besides that? What did you play in junior high?
Younger years, quarterback.
Oh, okay. So you were a quarterback in junior high. Okay. Gotcha. Now, who was your high school coach? Who was the coach back then? Do you remember?
It was Jerry Appoliti, who ended up leaving Coshocton. He was, I'm not sure where he went after that, but he eventually was the head football coach at Buffalo University.
Oh, wow.
And was I call it the superintendent, but the commissioner of the MAC for a number of years.
Oh, wow.
So, he went on to bigger and better things as well.
And what was his name again?
Jerry Appoliti.
Jerry Appoliti. All right, we'll have to look that one up. So and he told you we don't have any room for a specialist.
And I brought it up to him. He was at a fundraiser at one time, and I brought that up to him, and he thought that was the funniest thing he'd ever heard. He's like, I can't believe I did that.
But we do lots of stupid stuff whenever we're young. So, it's all good. All right, well, Cooz, thanks for humoring me and setting in for this. This could be a one and done type of thing with our. You can call it a podcast if you want, but we're just calling it our special Coffee with Cooz edition of Talkin' Football, brought to you by Coshocton Regional Medical Center, and we'll be back again next week. Be more of a traditional Talkin' Football, where Cooz is going to sit down with the three area head coaches: Steve Smith from Coshocton, Tyler McKee from Riverview, and John Slusser from the Ridgewood Generals. So we're looking forward to that, Cooz. Get your questions ready.
We'll be ready.
Yeah, get your questions ready, and then we're excited about the start of the season. We will have the Ridgewood and Coshocton game to start the year in week 1. We'll have that game on FM 99.3 WTNS, as well as on the WTNS YouTube channel. And then we'll have Garaway and Riverview. The Bears will welcome the Pirates out to Don Rushing Stadium. So we're excited about that game coming up. And that'll be in week 1, and we'll have that on 102.7 FM, as well as the AM station 1560, and also on the WTNS YouTube channel. Cooz, anything else before we go?
Nope, we're getting ready to go. It's that time.
All right. This is Talkin' Football, brought to you by Coshocton Regional Medical Center. I'm Casey Claxon. He's Steve Cores, and we will see you soon.
Talking Football is a production of WTNS Sports and Claxon Communications.
Coshocton Hospital has been there for me since I had my first stitches at 8 years old, and it was there for me just a few weeks back when I had to have a knee operation done.
It's just really nice to have somewhere that I know I can go. When one of my kids is being seen, they'll even check out my other kid just so they can be included.
Don received the best care that I think he possibly could have. Don and I both really felt that they were part of our family and we were part of their family.
I feel like I'm seen, or my kids are seen, and they generally want to hear what's wrong and they want to help however they can.
I want to be able to support an organization that's giving back to the community, that's part of my community. If that's a hospital, Coshocton Hospital is going to be my choice.